Let's move on to the next question. Definitely a passionate topic on the next question. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced as a woman in neurology, and how have you worked to overcome these?
Well, I will, speak again from my academy hat. When I started as on my first committee, there were 20% of women serving on the committees, and so I was, certainly um, had to have the confidence to push forward to continue to apply to, when my first committee appointment was completed, people encouraged me to apply to the board because there were only 4 women on the board. And, that you talk about imposter syndrome, but, that took, some courage to say, okay, well, I can do that. And so then I applied to be on the board. And then after 6 years on the board, someone encouraged me, why don't you apply to be an officer? And I'm like, oh, no way, but then I said, okay, well, if I don't do it, no one else will do it. So I applied to do that. So I think it's continuing to have the confidence to push forward, even though you're a minority. And currently, now our committee structures are such that 50% of our committee are women. The past 3 presidents have been women. So I think we're finally starting to see kind of a shift and at least in that organization. But it's a fun example.
So piggybacking onto that, what I found tricky early on, so you were bringing up the example of committees and things like that, and I think many of us are high achieving women with a lot of drive. I found it hard to choose what to say no to because a lot of stuff sounds really interesting and people are looking out for you. So they might present you with many opportunities, but some of them might actually at that stage of your career not be in your best interest to always say yes to. And I found in some women that I mentor that women don't know how to say no. And so I found it very tricky to choose what I should be doing that is very useful for me in my 5-year promotion plan and what I need to say no to. And that's why you were saying earlier about the mentorship to promotion is so important to have that 5-year plan. So, this committee sitting on the RB3 is going to be really important for me because I'm a clinician researcher, whereas, sitting on committee X might just be sitting on the committee without really bringing me forward. So I think it's really important as one is weighing these opportunities to think about your own promotion. Where do you want to be in 5 years? And if this, work in addition to your clinic is bringing you there, please say yes. And otherwise, you might consider a polite no.
Well, in terms of challenges for me, that goes back to the original question and topic we discussed. So being a mom and a physician, so juggling the two. So the main way I've tried to overcome it or manage both roles is by making sure I have a village, and that's a family village. So grandma's currently doing pickup for me right now. And then having a network of physicians, both women and men, who can advise me as I'm trying to navigate how academic neurology works and what should be part of my 5-year plan. So I think making sure you have appropriate networks and support, I think is an important way to try to overcome some of the challenges that come about.
And I'd like to just highlight, the importance of mentorship through this whole process. So, I had a mommy mentor and I had a professional mentor. So my chair actually had kids about 4 years older than my own, and she would tell me about different summer programs and different things that I could get my kids involved with. And she was my, if she can do it, I can do it. She was my, support in the office in a professional way, but really focusing on how can you balance that work-life parent challenge. And then I had my academic mentors who helped me write papers and get grants and things like that, but they were very different. But the idea is that no one mentor can do everything. And so in terms of the village, be sure you have that mentorship village as well as I had both my mother and my mother-in-law picking my kids up after school. So I totally get the village concept.
For sure. And then since you brought up mentorship again, and we've said it many times now, that word, but what it really, I think, is also helpful and sometimes underused is getting to know different practice settings that might fit best with your idea of a lifestyle and having a family. we're all obviously growing up as residents in academic, hospital environments, so we're familiar with that. But oftentimes I see that younger faculty are not familiar with private practice settings and don't quite know what they're getting into. So maybe doing a rotation in a private practice setting as a resident, which is possible at many places, is useful. Looking at the VA as a practice site, can be very family friendly. Oftentimes it's purely outpatient, no call, no weekends, just kind of really not only looking at one practice model, but just trying to see what suits your career and your family life best would be something I would encourage.